welcome to or welcome back to Become Prejudice. My name is Mara, and for today's video I will be talking about all of the books that I read in January, as well as all of the books that I'm hoping to read in February. Now, I want to start this video by saying that I had a great reading month. I think this has been the best reading month I've had in a long time, because every single book that I read was super different from each other, and as well every single book that I read was really good, made an actual impact on me as a person, and just sort of really got me going and really got me thinking. And I'm very happy because I'm seeing this as a sign of the universe that I'm gonna have a good reading year. You don't have to, that just might be me, but that's okay. And let's get going because I can't wait to talk about them. The first one that I read was 10 minutes and 38 seconds in This Strange World by Elif Shafak. This is an amazing book. I read this in 24 hours, gave it 5 stars straight away, no doubt. It follows the life of Tequila Leyla, a Turkish woman who dies, that at the beginning of the book dies, and in the last 10 minutes of her consciousness working, she reflects on her life from childhood and birth until the moment of her death. It also doesn't just affect her, but it also looks at how death affects those who love you around, and how sometimes that may not be your family but your friends. I think it was beautifully written. It was really nice as well. I'm trying very hard to read books that are not just written by white people, that just take place in the UK or in the US or in Europe even. And this gave me a really good understanding of Turkey, and Turkey, difference between, for example, rural parts of the country and the city of Istanbul, and as well how different Istanbul can be for tourists and for people that actually live there. And I think that was such an interesting combination. The character of Tequila Leyla was really well done, and at all times you can see what's going on in her mind and the choices she's making. You may agree, you may disagree, but they're so well executed, and you can understand so well why she chose to make them that you can't but feel bad for her and empathize with her and want her to be your friend and just want to give her a hug and tell her that everything's going to be all right. So I really like this. I really like it as well. The visual part of it, it follows most of the years in her life have smells attached to them, not memories, and from the smell she creates the story, and it felt like you were surrounded by that smell, you were surrounded by that ambiance that she was in. The author did such an excellent job of just making sure that you were not just reading the book, but you felt like you were actually in the book. You know, in those magical films when they open the book and the book goes ooh, and then you just go inside it. That's what it felt with this book. I read it in 24 hours. I read most of it in one day, and my family thought that I was going crazy because I wasn't even hearing them when they spoke to me. That's how embracing this book is. I definitely think anyone and everyone who cares about other things besides Western literature should give this a shot, just because it was so beautiful, it was so well written, it was so, everything about it made you want more of the story. And by the time it wrapped up, by the time you were done with the story, all you could feel was just such pure love and such pure joy, because it's a very sad story, don't get me wrong, but all I could feel at the end of it was like I just had a warm hug from a good friend. And I don't think that many books make you feel this way. It's so weird to say this because it's like the 4th of February, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna be one of my top 5 books of the year by far. It was just so stunningly written. I'm very grateful that I got it. I think that it was, without my friends realizing, it was one of the best gifts I could have gotten, and I'm very happy about that. Okay, the next book that I read was an audiobook, and it was Crazling by Christine Kishore. I love Crazling. I've always liked Crazling. I always thought it was a great book. As a kid, it was one of the first big books that I read, and I absolutely thought the story was fantastic. I loved Katsa, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I loved Katsa and how she embraced her femininity and her wild side and herself, and how she learned to go from someone that despised something that made her unique to someone that used it to do good. I just loved her as a character. Poe, I thought he was fantastic. He's exactly like how I believe all men should be, like super accepting of her, super understanding, did not expect anything. It was just fantastic. Peter Blue as a character was so cute. She always reminds me of my younger sister, you know, small and at first sight you'd think like small and tiny and fragile, and then kicks ass. So I really like this story. I like the world as well that they created with the grace. For those who don't know, you may be born with a grace, and that means that you're extremely good at doing something in this universe. So for example, that could be something like swimming or lying or singing, but it could also be something like in Katz's case, which is killing and surviving and making sure that you don't die, or, you know, other graces. I don't know. You could be a very good spy, you could be a very good cook, or you could just be very good at climbing trees. And the way you can tell is because you have an eye in each color, and this is not exactly well regarded within the society, especially where Katza lives, but she's very lucky because she is the king's niece. So instead of being put to work by the king and, you know, being mistreated by society, I mean, she's still mistreated by society, don't get me wrong. People are terrified of her because she just goes around killing people for the king, but she has to work for her uncle, helping him maintain peace in the realm. And it's kind of, as well as the actual story of the storyline in which takes place, it's also a very good book for growing. You can tell how she grows, because sometimes we forget that you can be an adult and still grow. You can be someone that growth doesn't just happen when you're a kid, and her changes in mindset and how she decides to kind of use her grace for good instead of for evil, and the consequences that it has, because obviously everything has positive and negative consequences, and how she deals with these consequences. I thought it was absolutely stunning. And I think as well, they're bringing more books now. So I've only listened to the first audiobook. I don't think I listened to the rest, but I do think that they have other stories. So if you read it and you're interested, they're creating a whole realm of them. So definitely give it a read if you're interested in it, because I definitely recommend it. And I gave it 4 stars, I think, just because it was such an entertaining Goodreads book to read. I thought it was fantastic. I really did, actually. My next book is one that has been in my TBR for so long. I am embarrassed to say. I think I've had it in my TBR since I started this channel, and definitely since October, because that's when my grandmother gave it to me. And that is Desde la Dimensión Intermedia by Mercedes Salisax, from the Intermediate Dimension, if you don't speak Spanish. And I loved this book so much. When I first started reading this book, I was not sure if I was gonna like it, because the first 20 pages or so are so, you know, you're not quite sure where they're going with the story. But it was fantastic. I thought that the way she wrote it was incredible. It follows the life of Felipe Arcaya from childhood, more or less, and teenage years up to his death. And you know he dies like within the first 2 seconds, like, you know, he's like between the life and death. So like, you know, and it follows until that moment, and it is brilliantly done. It is a really good reflection of Spain. For those who don't know, in Spain had a dictatorship, and then we didn't, and then the transition period was very hard for many people, and then we had a terrorist group called ETA, and then technically we don't have it anymore. So that's kind of like the context that all of this takes place in. Quick histories of Spain, and it follows his life and his friendships and his romances and his mistakes, and he's a very complex character. I would not say this is a good man. I wouldn't say he was a terrible person. He was not like killing people for a living or anything, but he was not a good person. He was not someone that just protected his family. He had a really hard life, and he made really stupid choices all throughout the book, and they were a bit frustrating to read at times, but it was definitely worth it because, like, nobody's perfect. Nobody goes through life without making mistakes, and the mistakes he made, albeit stupid, are very realistic, are mistakes anyone can make. Many people cheat on their spouses. Many people decide to ignore their kids. Many people prioritize work over their family and then suffer the consequences. These are all very real problems that real people face every day. So I think that in that sense, this book was fantastic. As well, the characters in it were really complex. The character dynamics, how they worked with each other, were very good. So I was very pleased with just how everything worked throughout the novel. Everything felt like a really well done puzzle. And as well, at the end of the book, the ending is extremely surprising. The last 50 pages, I just kept going, no, oh my god, that was me all of the book. I couldn't understand how I hadn't seen it. When you read it, I feel like that's how you will feel. You'll be like, how did I not see this coming? The signs were there. So definitely give this a read if you can read in Spanish, and if you're interested in Spanish history, and if you're interested in just the reality of life, because life is not always pretty flowers and then you die. So really good book, really good book. Next up is another audiobook, and this is Heads Will Roll by Kate McKinnon. This, oh my god, I laughed so much. I must have looked insane because I listen to it sometimes when I go on my walks, and I couldn't help but laughing out loud, and it was brilliant. The casting for this audiobook includes the such of Kate McKinnon from SNL, Adi McBride, Meryl Streep. I don't know why I didn't start with that, but Meryl Streep is in this audiobook, and it's just brilliant. It follows the story of this queen called Queen Mortuana, who's an evil queen who likes to chop heads, hence the title Heads Will Roll. And you know, she's just trying to squash a rebellion and, you know, doing her best. But the way they narrated, the way it was written, you can definitely tell it was done by someone that has a lot of experience in comedy, because you cannot achieve what Kate McKinnon achieved without experience in comedy. And it was absolutely so funny, so much fun. I definitely recommend listening to it if you have Audible. I think it's only there though, so if you don't have it, don't worry. But if you do have the chance to get it, do it, because it's only 15 hours as well, it's not too long. And even like the narration, everything about it is just pure gold. It's just, the narration is stunning, the characters are really funny, and they have depth to it within, because sometimes when you have a comedy, you don't actually see how the characters develop, etc, etc. No, this was not the case. You could definitely see the character development, and I really liked that. And it was a great thing to listen to when you wanted to get your head out of a rut. And I gave it 4 stars. And then my last book was The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakavic. And this was the book club book for the month, and it was really good. I really liked it. I thought it was really funny. I think that the characters are incredible, like in the sense of like the complexity within them. There's a couple of characters I just kept thinking, you're a psychopath, you're just crazy, you're just nuts. But first of all, it was a great book club book because it gave way to much conversation. That was one of our best meetings ever. And also, like, the story itself is so interesting. It talks about Neil Justin, who plays this fictional sport called Exy and gets added to the Palmetto University club for Exy, and how he starts training, and he has a very dark past because his father is called the Butcher, and he is a assassin. He's kind of like how would you say this? A murderous crime lord called the Butcher. That's how they described him. Like, if your father's called the Butcher, you're definitely not going to be turning out all right, I don't think. And he wasn't. He's fucking nuts. But it was great. Fantastic book, frankly. And then he goes to Palmetto University to join this Exy team because they force him, basically. and then someone from his past is there. Oh, and will he find him? Will they know who they are? What is going on? And it's just like, if you know the book Beautiful Disaster, then this is kind of like that kind of vibe, that I have a dark past, I have a dark past, I have secrets, my life is mysterious. He's had a terrible life. Like, he's like 18, 19, and he's had like terrible life. He did not want to have his life. He did not want to go through what he's going through, to be honest. But it's just funny. It was a great book. There's 2 more books that I really want to get. I don't think I'll get the paper ones. I'll get the Kindle version just to read them. But it was really good. I really like it. This book felt mostly like an introduction to the other 2 books. Personally, maybe I would have added all 3 books into one, because I kind of, by the time it stops, I was like, oh, but it's getting good now. So great sales technique. Now I'm gonna get the other 2, but also, I don't know, don't do that to me. That's just mean. But yeah, and I gave this 4 stars. All of my books are like 4 or 5 stars because they're just that good. And it was really funny. I really liked it. It was such a crazy whirlwind of a book, and that's great. That's the kind of books that I like to read, to be honest. And now we can get into my February TBR. And if you've been here for a few videos, you know I don't follow my TBRs that much. I choose to ignore them most of the time. And this month in particular, I am very, I'm not sure what to do, because I'll say why. One of the books that are coming out this month is A Court of Silver Flames, which is the next installment in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. So I'm definitely gonna read that. That's coming out the 16th. I might even do a vlog on me reading that, because I'm just so excited about it. But I have a few books here that I want to read. But do I want to read this, or do I want to reread A Court of Thorns and Roses? Because I don't know. What do I want to do? Let me tell you what's on my pile, and then we can decide. First up, I'm almost up with this book. It's a debinding by Bridget Collins. I will talk about this at depth, because I really want to get into it, because this has been an extremely good book. I am loving this book so much. I didn't think I was, and I was very pleasantly wrong. It's so good. The story's brilliant, and I'm very excited to finish it and talk about it very much in depth, because I like reading books like this. They make me happy. So, yay! And that one was not mine, by the way. This book is not mine, and the next one I'm bringing now isn't either. So that's why they're here. I need to return them at some point soon. Next time is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. Jojo Moyes. By this woman over here. Don't know what it is about. It's not mine though. I need to give this back as well. So I really want to get this book finished by the end of the month, because like that I can send it back to their rightful owner, and I don't have to, you know, I don't have to feel like I'm stealing people's books. But I'm really excited to read this, because she wrote Me Before You, and that was a really good film. She's very well regarded, and you know, it's the month of love, so I want to read something romantic. Next up, another one of TBR favorites, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I got this when did I get this? I got this in October or November. I got this in November, and I haven't read it yet. I don't know why, because I'm very excited to read it. But as I said in my What I Want to Read This Year video, I really want to read more university stuff, because I'm not in university. So I will be reading this hopefully this month, because I'm very excited for it. And that would mean that I have successfully read Donna Tartt and can decide for myself if all of the buzz around her is true or not. I hope it is. I really hope it is, because it sounds really good. It's about, you know, the dark academia theme, all of that, student, teachers, dynamics, not in a weird way, I hope not, but like in a very power exchange way. From what I read, I get no idea what this book is about. I just read it because it's about universities. Also, it matches what I'm wearing. Cool. See, hopefully I will read this in February. A lot of books for a month without that many days. And lastly, I will be starting. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, frankly. It's just like I want to just see myself cry. I don't know why. But I will be reading Camus The Plague in French. Now, I'm not hoping to end this month. This is going to take me a couple of months minimum. But I thought, why not? I don't know why I'm reading this one. This book is so sad. I'm very much enjoy reading the existentialists. I liked Beckett. I really like The Stranger. So I really like that kind of pessimistic way of seeing life. I really enjoy it. But I feel like reading about the plague during a plague might be a bit too much even for me. Regardless, we're gonna try, because why not? I'm just I don't know what he's going to be talking about. Like, I don't know exactly what this book is about. I haven't read the blurb. Let's see. I feel like this is just the story of someone while he's waiting for death. That's fun. That's cheerful. But, you know, I thought, when else am I going to find myself in a situation that I can relate so deeply to in a play? I'm hopefully never going to be in the middle of a pandemic again. And I hopefully will never be I'll never see the world in the state that I'm currently seeing it. I really hope so. So why not do it now? When else? What other time would be a good time for me to, you know, read this book? I don't know, dude. I feel like I'm gonna get very sad and put it down and get it back up again, so, you know, I'll start it. If I don't like it, I'll just put it down for a bit. But I want to read this because, you know, it's Camus. You want to read Camus. You want to be able to say, oh, Camus, you absolute idiot. Like a little twat. That's what you want to do. That's what I want to do in general in my life. I just want to be like, oh, you know, Camus, the plague. You didn't read the plague during the plague. God. Whatever. And actually, there's one more book that I want to read. Let me go get it. In keeping up with my I'm being a twat mentality, I'm gonna read Unamuno's Paisajes del Alma, Soul Landscapes, or something like that. Now, Unamuno is yet another one of those Spanish thinker writers that make you sound very idiotic and very like sophisticated and a very much a snob when you read it, but I actually really like him because he's a really good political thinker in Spain. Now, this holds 34 articles that he's written, mostly in 1922. Bit of context, 1922, Spain wasn't doing that well, so he popped up. Also, look at him. He looks exactly like what you'd expect a thinker to look like. Look at that face. Unamuno. So I'm going to be reading this one as well because I really like to read in Spanish just because otherwise I don't really speak it that much. I don't really listen to it that much. Nobody here speaks Spanish except for me, so I read this. And yeah, those are all of my books. I'm very excited for February. If it's anything as good January, I am going to be so pleased. I forgot one book. Another book that I'm reading this month is Where the Lost Wander. That is our February book of the month in my book club, the Page Turners. I'm not sure what it is about. Feel free to read it along and tell us what you thought about it. We would love to hear. But I'm very excited for that because I know it's a historical fiction novel and I always like reading those, as you can see by my Philippa Gregory collection over here. So yeah, very excited to read that. And yes, let me know in the comments down below whether you think I should read the Court of Thorns and Roses again. I read them this summer, but you know, a little refreshment. I could do that. I really want to do that. And as well, like, I'm in a situation because, as I said, my friend got me the paperback or the actual physical copies, and now I want to buy the other ones. It's a whole ordeal thing, but I might reread them. Might do that. Why not? Why not? Yeah, I'm gonna try and read some of the Court of Thorns and Roses books as well. I have until the 16th to have time. I don't. That's like in a week and a half. Okay, now I'm stressed. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below and subscribe. And if you like what you saw here, please go over to my Instagram at Book and Prejudice, where I post more bookish content and I try to be a bit more reliable than on YouTube. Anyways, have a great week and I'll see you guys next Monday. Bye bye!